Hey, it's Pete, North Las Vegas. Hey, just want to say happy Thanksgiving. Thought I'd make a video while the turkey's cooking. Anyway, this video is going to be A2 standard front sight post, F-marked front sight post versus a Mil Spec carry handle or a commercial carry handle. So I wrote down the specs, and on an F-marked front sight, from the top of the barrel to the shelf here is 1.98 inches. On a standard A2 front sight base, it's 1.94 inches. Now, on the rear sight carry handle, from this distance here to this distance here on a Mil Spec is 0.835. And commercial is 0.795, and you basically end up with a plus or minus 40 thousandths difference in height between the rear carry handle and the front sight. So I didn't really have to worry about this in the past, because when I bought an AR rifle, I bought a complete rifle, whether it was Colt, Bushmaster, Palmetto State Armory, whatever. I bought the complete rifle, so if I bought a rifle that came with a carry handle, it came with the correct front sight base, sight post, and carry handle, so there was no issues. But I did started running into some issues here recently from mixing and matching different rifles and sights and carry handles. So, for example, on this Windham Weaponry dissipator barrel, that is a standard A2 front sight base. That is not F-marked. And the same thing on this rifle here. This rifle here is completely 100% Windham Weaponry. And it too uses a standard A2 sight base. This is not F-marked. And when I first bought the rifle, I thought that was kind of odd, because I didn't realize that the carry handle came in two different specs, Mil Spec and commercial. And so at first I thought, well, why did Windham do that? Why did they put a standard A2 on the barrel that should have been F-marked if they got a flat top? So at the time, I wrongly put a 40 thousandths taller front sight in, thinking I needed to compensate for this because I thought this was Mil Spec. And then I came to find out that Windham Weaponry and a few other AR manufacturers actually make these two commercial specs. So this being a commercial spec, 40 thousandths shorter than a Mil Spec, this works with a standard front sight, even though it's a flat top. Anyway, hope I'm making sense here. Now, on Palmetto State Armory, I don't know if you can make out the F on the front sight, but this is an F-marked front sight, so it's 40 thousandths taller than a standard A2 front sight base. So therefore, in order for this to co-witness correctly with the carry handle needs to be a Mil Spec. Now I know some of you guys out there are going to say, you got enough adjustment on the front sight post whether you're running commercial or Mil Spec, but I kind of got OCD. So if I'm running an F-marked front sight base, then I want to have a Mil Spec carry handle, and vice versa. If I'm running a like a Windham Weaponry that uses an A2 standard sight base on a flat top, then I want a commercial carry handle so that all the dimensions are correct. I got a good baseline to start from. Okay, so this is the Palmetto State Armory F-marked, and you can see it comes in at 1.978, so just call that 1.98, which matches the F-marked dimensions that I researched. So Palmetto State Armory is very, very close. Okay, so this is the Windham Weaponry, and that's a standard A2 front sight base. That comes in pretty close to 1.94, 1933. So that's pretty close to the standard dimension. Okay, so we verified that Windham Weaponry uses a standard A2, and that Palmetto State Armory is an F-marked. So now we'll do some measurements on the carry handles. And then after that, we'll talk about how mixing and matching carry handles versus a standard front sight base versus an F-marked, how that affects things on the rifle. Okay, so this is the Windham Weaponry carry handle, and it comes in at commercial spec. So there's commercial spec right there, is .795. So using a commercial spec carry handle, even on a flat top, with an A2 standard sight base, that all lines up. The front sight post and the rear sight are in the proper relationship, or co-witness, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now we'll take a look at a genuine Colt Mil Spec carry handle and see if it measures correctly at Mil Spec. Okay, so this is a genuine Colt, and it's supposed to be Mil Spec. And if you look at that number, and we come over here at the Mil Spec number, it's very, very close. It's right there. So genuine Colt is Mil Spec. Okay, so on the Windham Weaponry, standard A2 sight, commercial carry handle, that means that I can use a standard height sight post, and everything lines up, everything co-witnesses, everything is correct. Now, on the Palmetto State Armory, because this is an F-marked, it's 40 thousandths taller, and everything to be lined up without having to adjust or change sight posts or anything like that, then I need to use a Mil Spec carry handle, because this also sits 40 thousandths taller. So that lines up the rear sight and the front sight post, and everything will be in the correct relationship. So what happens if I take this Mil Spec and put it on this Windham Weaponry that's using the standard A2? Okay, so here's what happens. On a standard A2 front sight base using a Mil Spec carry handle, if I want everything lined up, I got to put in a sight post that's 40 thousandths taller. Now, if I take a commercial carry handle and put that on an F-mark rifle, then I have to lower the sight post 40 thousandths. Now, most of these rifles, you do have enough adjustment, and like I said earlier in the video, you guys could say, well, you're splitting hairs, you know, why worry about it, just adjust your sight. Well, on one of my rifles, I had to adjust the sight up to where it was in danger of coming out of the locking pin, the spring adjustment detent. And like I said, I got a little bit of OCD, so I want all these things to be right. I want to have a good baseline when I start out. So anyway, once again, here's what happens when you mix and match carry handles with different front sight bases, and what needs to happen on the front sight post. Okay, so that's using carry handles. Now, what if I have an A2 standard front sight base, but I'm using a Magpul flip up, and I'm using an optic like a red dot. My understanding is Magpul dimensions these to be used with an F-marked. So because I have a standard A2, I have to put in a taller, 40 thousandths taller front sight post in order to get the rear flip up and the sight post co-witnessing properly with a good flush baseline on the base. And the same thing with the aim point. I'm sure that they set the mount up to be co-witnessed with an F-marked, not an A standard. So for these two reasons on this particular rifle, I had to go to a 40 thousandths taller sight post, because this is also a Windham Weaponry dissipator barrel. Anyway, hopefully this helps you out, and hopefully I didn't get anybody confused. I tried to do this so that it all made sense. Anyway, once again, happy Thanksgiving.